So you've decided to make the move abroad? We are very happy that you made this decision. Now, of course, comes the very most important question. Which country do you want to go to? Especially if you have the freedom to choose wherever you want to go.
So, if you're new to this channel, I'm Monica.
And I'm Matt.
This is Matt. And we are currently living in the Netherlands, but plan to move to a new country. In our videos, we share everything you need to know for living abroad, but we'll be also sharing what we learned during our preparations for our next move. So if you're searching for practical information on living abroad, make sure you subscribe to our channel, press the notification button so you know when we have uploaded a new video.
So, have you really thought about the country you like to go to? Remember, you have to be honest with yourself. It sounds very interesting to go to a country to live in a small hut or a small bungalow near the beach where you can do your morning swims. Sounds pretty awesome, right? But please be honest with yourself. Maybe it's not that comfortable in the long run.
Today we're going to discuss 5 points that you should consider when selecting your country. These points can have influence on your long-term happiness in your new country. So we're going to start off with the first point, which is, have you ever been there and how was the experience?
This question might sound very obvious to you, but you might have fallen in love with this country through YouTube, other people's experience, and so on. But of course, best is to go there yourself. Feel if there's a connection with you and the country. And don't only go to the tourist areas, but also live the local life, so to speak, and get a feel for it. Is there a connection? And be honest with yourself, it is a very important answer.
If you're connected to a country somehow, perhaps you have distant relatives or descendants there, then you still have to explore the country at a local level first, even if you have roots there. Just think of countries like Japan, Colombia, Mexico, Greece. For instance, I am half Indonesian, so I'm very connected with Indonesia, but there are still many areas or places in the country that I feel very out of place. The next point is the distance from your family and friends.
Living abroad doesn't necessarily mean that you have to move to the other side of the planet, You don't have to. You can also choose a country that's not too far from your home country. So you'll be there for family events like birthdays or marriages or anything else, or you like to spend the weekend with your friends. No, that's possible. For instance, if you're coming from the US, it's obvious you can go to Central America. That's only 2-3 hours flight, right? And for those in Europe, it's easier to go to the south of Europe, or to the east of Europe.
Luckily, with the technology of today, you can still live far away and still feel connected with your family. So if distance is not really an issue for you, make sure you do double check how the internet services is in the country that you're living in before you decide to move there. The next point is the people and culture.
Do you want to live in a culture that has a lot of similarities with yours? Or do you want to live in a culture which is slightly different? It is a kind of important thing, Just look at religion, for instance. If you're Catholic, it makes more sense that if you move abroad, culture-wise, you will also find many similarities in Central or South America, for instance, If this doesn't really matter for you, okay, but are you alright with maybe long sleeves or long trousers in certain areas? Let's say you want to live in a Muslim country, then it's normal to have often long sleeves, long trousers. Are you okay with this? Are you comfortable? That's something you also, you should think about, of course.
For instance, another example is Bali. Bali is a very popular island to move to, and the Balinese are very welcoming, but if you do choose to live in a rural country, then you can get a bit lonely because the Balinese are often busy with their religious duties, something that you will never be part of.
Another point is the language, of course. I mean, if the second language is English, you might have to think again. Let's say you want to go to Central South America, you have to learn Spanish right away. You know, it's obvious, you know. Then again, if you want to move to countries like Malaysia, for instance, all of them speak English. Same as here in the Netherlands, you know. Everybody speaks English here in the supermarket, in government offices, in whatever, you know. So think about this hard as well.
And how about food? Maybe not really important, but if you are vegan or vegetarian, then specific countries can make life a bit difficult, such as the countries in Central and South America, where meat is almost always on the table. But in Europe, it's Spain, Italy, and Eastern Europe, like Croatia, Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Of course, you can always find a way to avoid eating meat. But yeah, this is just a point that you should consider. But if you really want to move to this country, you will always find a way to make it feel like home. But yeah, you have to make a little bit more effort.
Another thing, if you decide to move to Asia, for instance, I mean, if you have Japan, Korea, Philippines, and Vietnam, for instance, they're also very meat focused, you know. But then if you go to Thailand, for instance, or Malaysia or Indonesia, it's very easy to find vegan or vegetarian meals.
Another important point is climate. Wouldn't it be nice to say bye-bye to autumn and winter? For us, this would be a real joy.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
But you have to consider that a country has different seasons, and they can have like a hurricane season or a rainy season. For instance, in the tropic, a rainy season isn't just like a little bit of rain. The whole environment is going to change. Little streams will turn into huge rivers that can overflow and cause floods, that can even cause water damage in your house. And not to forget the electricity going down, or mold, that you can't get rid of the mold.
So it's best if you decide about this country that you actually do kind of a run the whole year. Check the climate for the whole year. I mean, for instance, you have these beautiful tropical islands on the east coast of Malaysia, Pulau Kapas, Perhentian, and well, they are inaccessible in wintertime, you know, that's in December, January, February, you know, because of the rainy season. So you have to think about this as well. It might sound pretty cool to live there, but then again, can you even get from the islands to the mainland and back? No, that's something you should take into account as well, of course.
The last important point is your living standards are different than the locals. One of the biggest reasons to move abroad is to improve the quality of life. This doesn't really mean financially. For instance, if you're from the UK, you want to improve your quality of life by moving to France, Spain, or Portugal. In these countries, living standards are quite the same.
So, if you do choose to go to countries such as Argentina, Mexico, Malaysia, Indonesia, for instance, I understand, you know, because with your current salary, you can live like a king, you know. But you have to ask yourself this very important question. Can I live in a, well, less developed country than where I'm from? You know, are you comfortable with this?
Poverty and crime can be an issue. You will be confronted by people who are struggling to put food on the table. And maybe you have to take extra security measures, such as cameras on your fences, bars on your windows. If these things feel uncomfortable for you, then maybe, yeah, like Matt said, you should really reconsider the country that you're thinking of moving to.
You were thinking about maybe you should then go to Portugal, for instance,
Exactly.
or Greece or Italy or these countries. They're very, you know, very safe.
We hope you get the picture that you really need to think hard and honest with yourself about the country that you want to move to. Think long term and think what you really want when you are living in a country. These 5 points that we mentioned are just a kickoff for a whole list of other questions that you should ask yourself. Perhaps you want to move to a country where there's a huge expat community, or maybe you want to invest in a country and own something. So you have to check if this country offers you ownership possibilities. And if you're like us, moving as a family, then schooling is of course really important. So you have to check what kind of schoolings are offered in the country that you're considering. So all these questions, they will be popping up when you're planning your move. But like we said earlier, be really honest with yourself.
So of course we're going to make a lot more videos about this topic, you know, the list goes on and on and on. So don't forget to subscribe and click the bell notification button.
If you have any points or questions, ideas, anything that you want to share, please use the comment section below this video and we are happy to read them all.
Hope to see you again in our next videos.
Bye for now, bye bye!